Good morning, my friends. We are at our fifth, our fifth session of 1-2 Flex. So I'm so happy you're feeling energized and ready to go today. We're going to work on some dynamic leg stretches. So I think we're going to be completely standing for this one. So I do have a chair. I also have some blocks. Optionally, we can have a strap. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. Use the chair. The chair is mostly for balance, except for one stretch where if you don't have blocks, you use the chair. Okay, but make sure you're hydrated, sure you have some space ready, and let's dive into this session, shall we? So I'm gonna scoot on back to my mat, and we're gonna start off with some hip circles. So feet a little bit wider than hip width, soft bend in the knees, pull the tailbone in towards your belly button, pushing the hips forward to the side, back. Other side, forward, smooth it out. Good. So, of course, when it comes to hip circles, go as wide, as narrow, as fast, or as slow as you would like. Good. When your hips are forward, switch directions. Good. Let's do two more. Wonderful. All right. Find center. Let's do some leg swings. So I like to have a chair nearby when it comes to leg swings, especially in the morning, because our balance is not the greatest. I know mine's not in the morning. So if we want, we can have a chair nearby. So if we do use a chair for these leg swings, right now we're just going to go forward and back. I would suggest having the chair beside you. The leg closest to the chair is the one going to be swinging. So that way we're not dumping in to the opposite standing leg. We can kind of balance it out. So soft bend in this standing leg. We're literally just going back and forth. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Again, we're just getting some movement into the hips. And that's really what dynamic stretching is kind of moving through a range of motion, not really holding stretches too much. We are going to hold a couple stretches later on, but for now, just to wake up that lower body. Good. One more. You bring it to center. I'm going to switch chair around. We'll switch sides, shall we? When you're ready, just go straight into it. Good. Breathing nice and deeply throughout. One more. Good. All right. And let's do side to side. So I'm going to move my chair to the side. But of course, if you want to have it, just have it in front of you here, okay? And again, we're just going to do one leg at a time. For this one, just bring it out in line with the rest of your body. Okay, we still have a nice soft bend in the standing leg. Good for 3, 2, 1. Bring it down right away. Switch sides. So we're getting in, of course, the abductor muscles on the standing leg, having to help balance us, stabilize our hips. Getting a little stretch in the adductor, the inner thigh, and then of course the abductor, outer hip. 2, 1. Good. All right, I'd love for us to go into elephant walks. So this is where we're going to use blocks, but you can use a chair if you don't have blocks around. So I'm going to have the base of the chair facing me, or I'm going to have blocks. I'm going to adjust my camera right here so you can see my feet. We're going to stand right in front of the chair or blocks about hip width. Okay, Soft bend in both knees. I want you to slowly roll it down. Hands coming to the base of the chair or your blocks. You can even walk your blocks in if that feels good. So we have that bend in our knees right now. Both heels are grounded. We're going to pull our tailbone up to the sky, thinking of a small arch in our lower back. And I'm going to slowly straighten my right leg out and really bend my left knee. Now, of course, if you have hypermobility or your hamstrings are feeling tight, you do not have to straighten your leg out fully. Okay, you can still have a soft bend. I really want you to focus on the tailbone being pulled up, and you're going to feel a line of tension into the hamstring, maybe the calf muscle too. And we switch, straightening the left leg and bending the right. So once you find that line of tension, you can slowly switch. So we're going to be moving back and forth here, really pulling your tailbone up to the sky and really finding that nice deep bend in one knee to get that nice deep stretch in the opposite leg. Good. So, of course, elephant walks are great for the hamstrings, that big muscle group in the back of our thighs. And of course, over time, we can adjust the setting. So if we're using a chair, maybe we come down to our forearms, or we just have a bend in the elbow. If we're using blocks, maybe we change the setting of the blocks. I like having blocks or a chair, specifically because it gives us some more space for our torso, and we can really just take charge and focus on the legs rather than the actual fold. Good. All right, we did a couple more than I was thinking, so let's just do one more. End it off so it's nice and even. Keep a bend in both knees, and I want you to slowly straighten them. You don't have to straighten them fully again, only as much as it feels good for you. I do want you to push your weight forward towards the front of your feet, tailbone really reaching up to the sky. You can adjust your hands or elbows if you're on a chair, or blocks if you're using those. Give your head a little shake. Really try and bring your torso down towards your legs. Yeah, that's a deep stretch for the morning. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, bend the knees, sit it back, roll it up, nice and slow. Good. So my head's getting cut off. I'm going to come back here a little bit. That's fine. Because I still want you to be able to see my legs for this next one, and it's going to be a high lunge. So again, we have the option of a chair. Flip it around so you can use the top of the chair if you'd like that balance. So high lunge, I'm at the top of my mat. I'm going to bring one foot, take a nice big step back wherever that is for you. And make sure your legs are on train tracks, not a tightrope, okay? That's going to really help with your balance. We're going to curl the tailbone into the belly button and bend that front knee a little bit more if that feels good. I'm going to adjust a bit here. Good. So we're probably feeling a nice deep stretch in our hip flexors. I know I am. And I want you to take a nice deep breath. And you have the option to add on here. And that is a side bend to get a little bit deeper into the hip flexor. So same arm as the back leg, comes up on an inhale if you'd like. And you exhale, go for like a micro side bend, okay? Nothing too crazy, just a little bend. Just enough to feel it into the hip flexor. Ooh. Good. If your arm was up, slowly bring it down. We're going to push our weight forward into our front leg. Try and drag or float the back leg forward. Good. And let's switch sides. So take that nice big step back. Again, train tracks, not a tightrope. Okay, my back heel is lifted. And I'm going to curl the tailbone in, bend that knee. And we can just breathe here. Okay, you can have your hands to that chair, to your hips, wherever feels good. And now if you want, you can also just opt to hold it as is. If you want, same arm as the back leg comes up, inhale. Exhale, small side bend. 3, 2, 1. You can bring the arm down, push your weight in to that front leg. Bring it forward. Okay. Last stretch we are going to do is a quad hold. Now, again, we can use a chair for balance. I also want to show you the option of using a strap. So if you're like me, one of my quads is tight. And also my balance on that other foot is not great. So I like to use a strap for that leg. So I'm going to use a chair for balance for this. So I'm just going to put it beside me. If you feel comfortable grabbing onto your back foot right off the bat, go for it. That is what we're getting into. If you want to use a strap, just so I can show you, I'm creating a nice large loop, catching my foot, whoop, right in it, and I pull it in that way. Let me give you a little side view there. Yeah. So either way, we're just going for this nice quad stretch. Some cues for you as we're in this. I want you to pull the tailbone in towards the belly button. Okay. The glutes are squeezing nice and tight. Those are your butt muscles. Pulling the heel in. And the knee is not out or forward or anything. It's in line with the opposite knee. Okay, keep pulling the tailbone in and forward. For another 3, 2, 1. Very gently release that leg, release that strap if you were using it. We're going to switch sides. So again, just for my own balance support, I'm going to use a chair. I'm going to just grab my foot this time, but again, you can use a strap for one leg or both legs. But, oh my gosh, that was a little bit dramatic. All right. Grab onto the back foot, hopefully not as awkwardly as I just did. Curling the tailbone in, pushing the hips up a bit forward to get that nice stretch through the quadricep muscles. Okay. Breathing nice and deeply. Make sure the standing leg is not locked out. Good. Keep breathing and holding. Let's go for another 4, 3, 2, 1. Very gently release it. Give your legs a little shake. That does bring us to the end of our morning class for 1-2 flex. Of course, let me know how your body is feeling. Tonight, this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a seated flexibility flow. So you're going to want to grab that chair again for some nice, slower movements. Yeah, that's it for this morning's class. Thank you so much for joining me. Drink some water, get some rest, and I will see you tonight for our second Wednesday's 1-2 flex.